Boom, we're live. Welcome to the show. This is You, Me, and BTC episode 268. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have some fun tonight, guys. You got B Trash on one side, you got B Trash on the other side. Which B Trash you going to pick? Let's find out. I don't know. They're not all trash. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Who cares? We're going to make fun of them. Anyway, I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker. Hello. I'm not alone this
Tim
time.
Baker.
This
Hey,
is the
Tim,
first
how'd
time
it
I haven't
go?
been eating right beforehand, too. What?
Eating is bad for your radio voice. Makes your mouth
Yeah.
all sticky and whatnot.
What?
Just grab a big lump of peanut butter and just go at it. See what happens.
No. I mean, I imagined that, but yeah, what were you gonna say?
So, hey, what I missed last week sounded like a good time.
I mean, it was. I pretty much declared myself foreign and independent from the rest of the podcast. This is now Tim's special hour. It's his special time.
All right.
People take that how they
Tim's
will.
special time. Yeah, that does not sound very entertaining for anyone except you.
Nobody sent any tokens in last week, and I'm kind of still pissed. I was not asked to remove any articles of clothing, and I feel ashamed because of it.
All right, Tim needs tokens. Guys.
Lots of tokens, guys.
The place to be, if you're joining us live, is you, me, and btc.com/live. That'll take you straight to our landing page. Every week it updates to the new show. So if you're listening in the next 7 days, you're good. You can get there. You can find the video, the show notes, the chat archives. No, that you would have to go to YouTube for, I guess, to see. They have like live chat or whatever chat would have happened during the video they show there. But we're live now, so screw you if you're listening in the future. I don't know what you're doing with your life. Get it together. Like I said, the place to be is you, me, and btc.com/live. We do have chat right now on the site. Ignore all that confusion about in the future. You can, let me pull up my screen share here and get to the right screen. Read some show notes. We got those for you if you like. And we have some links to a couple stories about stuff we're going to cover. There's a million stories about this. It's kind of the biggest thing going on in crypto right now, so you could find more if you want, but these are the ones we kind of are going to touch on. And, of course, the best part of the show, of the landing page at the bottom, our poll. You can vote. The question is, well, there's not really even a question. It's actually pretty simple. It just says, choose your team. Option 1, BTC. Option 2, BCH ABC. Option 3, BCHSV, or option 4, lol. So take your pick. I was surprised no one said lol yet. I mean, that's what I would pick. I wouldn't even pick Bitcoin. Like, screw that. I'm just going to pick lol. What do I care? So what do I care? That's a real question. Ask me that later in the show, Tim. It'll be great radio conversation.
So what do you think?
We got NY Cartoons in the chat already giving us a fist bump. What up, brother? How's it going? Anyone else? Like I said, you, me, and btc.com/live to jump in the chat and give us a fist bump. It'll be fun. I'm trying out, if you're watching the video, a new setup here. Not super different other than just slightly more elevated because I'm a stand-up kind of guy. So what else am I going to do? Tim, what team do you choose? BTC, BCH, ABC, BTC, SHVM, Q, LGBT, XQ. What else? What do you want?
I'll go
What
with
team
the
do you
Q,
pick?
LGBT, KQ.
Actually, I didn't think of that comparison until the middle of that sentence, but it is a pretty similar comparison where everyone just like wants to get their name and everyone wants to get attention and it all just turns into a bunch of letters.
Well, going off
fair?
of that would make me want to be BCH ABC, but I'll probably side with LOL.
Wait, going off of
Wow.
what? Why would you want to pick ABC?
Because the amount of different letters, I think that has the most, right? Yeah. So I can do addition really quick in my head. My mind is so sharp right now. It's just
I'm going more for a revolution. Like the first three options all have a B in them for Bitcoin. I'm like revolution, like screw that. I'm going straight lol.
I think you just really think that the fourth option that you pick is just a hilarious joke every week, and I think that's why you're picking it. I'm going to go with that.
Oh crap! He got me.
It's like this haircut, whatever I don't know. I can't pick on that anymore. I'm sorry. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm getting used to having to do this show with somebody else and not just look at myself.
Tim took over. Tim's like I don't know. I feel like I should kick him off before he gets out of control.
What
do you guys think? Tweet at me.
No, I'm just cold. Like it's just Daniel. It just started snowing here for no reason. I still
Shut up,
have
Tim. Look, I've got like 12 layers on. I'm still freezing because it's like 65 degrees outside.
60. This is when I should be coming to Arizona. Is when it's like an actual.
Yeah, where are you?
Every time I go there, it's a legitimate hellscape. I see people working outside. I'm like, how are you doing this? The car is burning me. It hurts right now.
I'll be here all winter, so I got a guest room. All right. Hey, what do you know, Tim, about this hoopla going on? Like, have you followed it at all? Do you know who's involved, what the differences are, or is that for me to tell you and you to find out?
I mean, I've followed absolutely none of it for the past 2 days. Haven't been working, so I've been like actually for once spending a decent amount of time writing. So I've actually stayed away from looking at a bunch of this different stuff. Daniel made a mention in one of our chats earlier about, oh shit, it went to $5,000 all of a sudden.
Yeah, holy
I saw it last night and I was like, oh, okay. I don't even think I hadn't looked at the price. It was something came up on my Google, like when it'll like alert you to news stories, and I was like, I saw Bitcoin and my eye just went down to it. And I was like, yep, big sell off. And I was like, oh, wait, let me check the price. And I was like, oh, yeah, it dropped by $1,000.
Yeah.
Last time I checked it.
It was so fast. Yeah, my phone restarted. So my little ticker in my notifications was like turned off. Sometimes it doesn't start up when you start your phone. So where did I see that first? I don't even know where I noticed, but it was just today. And so then I went and turned my ticker on my phone back on. And I was like, holy crap. So much for that money. What money? I don't have any Bitcoin. All right. Moving on. So yeah, you haven't followed. That's pretty good. I support that. As we often do on this show. I mean, we like to make fun of things, and part of that is just like, screw you, I'm not paying attention. But we also have to have some sort of content in our shows to discuss, and so that's what we're gonna do. The difference is, this is great. I had a little bit of fun with my show notes, so check those out if you haven't already. Every once in a while I have a little bit of extra time to actually put work into our show notes, and I feel like sometimes they're a little creative or informative or something. Not always. Last week, literally all I did, I still haven't caught up. I've got like 40 podcasts in my queue to catch up on, so I didn't actually listen to last week's show, but I just titled it T-Dog because Tim ran the show. And the show notes, all they said was, what did the show notes say? They just said, please enjoy this special episode. And that was it. So I don't know what you got. I've told you too a couple times recently. I mean, don't worry about the show notes. The show notes don't matter because I write them before the show usually, and then we talk about whatever anyway. So screw that. But anyway, all that to say, they might have been pretty decent, better than some weeks. And all right, so how about I read a bit? Here goes. It seems like some people just can't resist the ultimate forking high. Roger Ver and Craig Wright used to back Bcash and trash Bitcoin Core as teammates. The two successfully rolled Bcash Land for a time, but the urge to fork was just too strong. So the outlaws turned against each other, each lending allegiance to their own version of Bitcoin Cash. So yeah, that's the best part about all this. If you don't know this yet, Tim, that's the best part. Roger Ver and Craig Wright are the two that are like forking against each other. Like,
okay,
for all of their, in the past, trying to keep the original Bitcoin, and that's one of them's even called Satoshi's Vision, and ripping on Bitcoin Core. And they, like I said, they used to be teammates, and now they're just like, screw this, let's fork again. So that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what we're talking about. I think the last time you were even on here about where it's like because Bitcoin's been around for so long, because kind of people's specific interests have kind of taken over versus wanting to it's like it's almost like people's personalities have gotten in the way. I mean, I understand that there are technical differences between these things, but it seems almost like it more the anger, at least most of the argument, comes out of two clashing personalities versus the actual ideas being so different from each other. I mean, that also is just that also seems true in a lot of things, though. If you don't have a really close eye to it, probably the more involved with the discussion that you're in, the more you're like, no, this side is trying to force everybody to do this thing. But like from my position, it seems like this is just more kind of. It's almost like you have infighting because you're not all kind of. I don't know if it's as simple as like you have infighting because not everybody's working against a common enemy or something like that. But it kind of happens out of boredom too, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was thinking that a little bit recently. We had a show. What was the actual topic? One of the questions we asked was like, have we made it? Have we finally reached the point where Bitcoin just is what was the actual story? Crap, it's gonna bug me. It'll hit me probably. But yeah, we were asking the question, have we finally made it to this point? Oh, it was the volatility story where record low volatility. And it's like, have we finally made it to that point that we've been talking about for years when we say, oh, Bitcoin might get big enough. And then it won't be volatile anymore, volatile, whatever. We've screwed that word up since episode 1. But yeah, so really, what that until today, honestly, this is like one of the most exciting days in forever. But you're right, Tim. It's kind of been like boring. It's like not much happening. Bitcoin just is, and like, oh, more people want to regulate it. Of course they do. More people want to exchange it. Of course they do. More people want to accept it. Of course they do. Nobody cares. It used to be news when somebody accepted Bitcoin, and now nobody cares. You're right, Tim. There's an element of boredom. It's just like, all right, well, now what? Okay, how about let's make a new version? And anyway, so that's what makes this so exciting. It's like, all right, something's happening here. Let's just grab some popcorn and see what happens. Why not? I'm not invested in either one, so have fun, guys.
Yeah, it's nice to have that like buffer zone if you do want to. I find that I'm happier with arguments when I'm not a part of them. Obviously it's easier to look at them as then both sides kind of being stupid.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's
like
good.
A political debate.
Yeah,
where nobody ever answers any question.
It's more fun like in public. And now, believe me, I'm trying to remember if I've ever been a part besides like a concert or something. I can't remember if I've ever really been part of a crowd that was all kind of focused on one thing. So I'm sure like
You mean it like in public?
Yeah.
Like have you ever done a protest or
no?
Like we've done conferences. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think I am like most of the time about something like a protest or some kind of spontaneous, like not okay, we all get together, we have name tags and everything, but like kind of you don't know the people's name around you, but you're going towards something. So
yeah, like street level activism.
Yeah. That also I think can translate over to Twitter too, where then either like people are putting stuff in their bios about what branch of cryptography they are now. And,
yeah.
It's right next to their preferred pronouns is also. I don't really like the word Bitcoin. It offends me. It bothers me, and I wish I've muted these words in my mentions. But yeah, this is a very easy argument for me to go, okay, I'll just watch. I'll see what. Now, like, this is also one where it's like I don't care so much that I would almost prefer there be some kind of like a fight between them because then it makes it more interesting to watch. If I'm part of an argument, I tend to like keeping things somewhat civil. I don't like even if you're arguing like libertarianism versus statism, I don't like going the full. You're fucking killing everybody in this because
I'll be honest, Tim. That's kind of a shame. Like, you've got some great opinions in there. I wish I could watch you debate like all the statists that I know. I wish that you would just rage on them. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what's our prison population? And you want that to keep going? Is this a joke? And then, list a million reasons for, statistics about how many, inmates are just there because of possession. And, oh, that's just one topic, but anything else, I just wish I could. That's why I love your podcast so much. Cause you get to rail all this stuff out there. It's like, oh, that's a good point. Like, if you want to succeed in life, you should do this. Why didn't I think of that? And then it's like, oh, wait, but that's also a good point. You're not successful at all. So why am I listening to you? Good point, Tim. I should stop listening to you. I don't know.
This is how I need to build patrons, except no, I don't need Patreon. I need like Leonardo da Vinci patrons that pay me to go paint the Sistine Chapel. I will come design everybody's podcast studios because I have something to do with podcasts. I know the feng shui. You should see the room that I do my podcast.
Tim still hasn't decorated his freaking backdrop.
No, because the desk that I sit at changes every single day. There's a coffee cup. There's like 5 different e-cig tops over there. There's a pipe wrench right there.
Wait, what? What does that have to do with your backdrop?
Because this is you got to get into a certain kind of feng shui. There's a flow you get into whenever you're recording stuff. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys in my hour-long process that you pay $5,000 for.
I'm really sorry for anyone that listened to last week's show. I apologize.
I'm much less prideful whenever I don't have like a person to immediately talk to. Because if I'm prideful and I'm just doing it by myself, then I feel bad eventually because I'm like, they think I'm an asshole. Now you just think I'm an asshole, and I'm fine with that.
All I'm saying is I think it's a shame that I never get to hear Tim like rage on someone like in person. So maybe one day I'll see it happen. Because I know, like I said, his podcast is great. I know he's got great things to rage about. I just wish I could see him demolish the little freaking statists. But one day. Hey, we'll go ahead and read a bit just for kicks here. This is bitcoinist.com. And this is actually it's from before the fork, November 10th, because they covered the futures trading they didn't quite call it futures, pre-fork trading or IOU trading, stuff like that. And yeah, this is a few days old, but it's still interesting information about which fork do they think is going to win. Numerous cryptocurrency exchanges plan to support the upcoming Bitcoin Cash hard fork. It's expected that the network will split into 2 parts. One chain follows the vision of Craig Wright, who claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto. The other half follows the current developers who rely on Bitcoin ABC's software. For exchanges, this creates interesting opportunities. Both Poloniex and HitBTC offer pre-fork trading at this time. This does not replace the traditional BCH market, which is still in place. Instead, users can trade IOUs for the 2 potential new tokens coming to market after the fork. Seemingly 3 versions of Bitcoin Cash trade at different values. This is where it gets interesting. PolonieX's platform indicates support for BCH SV is significantly lower than BCH ABC. And that is still true. I'll pull up the exact numbers here. BCH ABC is coming in hot at I want to say 290 earlier today. Oh, geez, I clicked the wrong freaking link. Oh, I'll find it. But yeah, something like 290 is what I saw earlier today. This seems to indicate a lot of speculators have a certain bias towards Craig Wright's take on this chain. BCH ABC's value, on the other hand, is trading over 10% lower compared to BCH. Okay, so let's start with that. I'll pull up the price when I get a chance. But yeah, ABC is winning by a fair bit. I want to say the SV was at like $90 or $100. So it's almost ABC was worth almost pretty much 3 times as much today. But ABC is at a few days ago. Now it's, man, this is hard. Forks have always been hard to talk about since they started about a year ago. They're hard to like get the words right to explain like which one you're talking about and which point in time are you talking about and stuff like that. But the future ABC fork was worth less than the original Bitcoin Cash, even though now at this point in time, ABC is the same thing as Bitcoin Cash. And then SV is the one that forked off. Again, hard to talk about. But the question I have, Tim, is like, what would that signal to you? Is because that's to be expected. If it's going to split into two, one is going to be they're both going to be worth less than the sum. But if they add together, that's what happened with Bcash, right? Like I said, about a year ago, they had futures for Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and the sum, they were both worth less than Bitcoin, even though, it's so hard to explain. Even though Bitcoin Core is the same thing as Bitcoin now, at the time they were different because some of them were futures and one of them was an actual current withdrawable Bitcoin. Oh, I'm doing terrible here. I'm sorry, Tim. Which one would you buy? The one with more letters, ABC.
I might stick with that. I don't really know.
What about if we talk about Craig Wright and Roger Ver? I think without question, I would follow. I hate both of them, but I would follow Roger Ver way before Craig Wright, almost without question.
I was going to actually say that as well. I don't know. With those ones, I might go with like the worst, the worst performing one now, in the hopes that it would jump up comparatively more. But yeah, I trust Ver before Craig Wright. I mean, Ver is an asshole, but so am I, so I can at least respect that. But Craig, I mean, I'm just to clarify, like, he has said that he's Satoshi, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
that's why he calls it Satoshi's vision.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you might be right, man, but you're also talking a lot like what people do for any kind of confidence art. Like, if you're doing the con man kind of like playbook, so that kind of makes me a little bit suspicious.
Yeah. Oh man, exactly. Like, gosh, even if he really was Satoshi, just the way that he went about everything, trying to prove it and then not actually proving it and still not proving it. Like, golly, like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if you're Satoshi. I don't think you are by any stretch. But even if you were, like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. You are just creepy. So there is that. And then Roger Ver on the other hand, even though we still dislike him and his Bcash stuff, other than that, we kind of appreciate him. A lot of anti-war sentiment, a lot of libertarian sentiment, and just general common sense aside from Bitcoin Cash. And so I have way more respect for Ver than freaking Craig, not Satoshi.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, I did get the price pulled up. ABC is trading at $288.50. So that's a clear winner without question at the moment. Now, Tim, going forward, from this point on, from today on, it gets even more complicated. Do you remember? I don't know how active you were, if you were trading or transacting Bitcoin during the fork, but for several weeks, there was the complicated scenario, which I'm sure we tried to explain on the show. I don't know how well we would have done at the time, and I don't know how well I'll do now, but there was the complicated scenario where the miners would switch back and forth between forks, like regularly, every couple of days or whatever, because as, you can run the math. You can run the numbers. You can say, this is the current difficulty to mine, which is it's a publicly known number. You can estimate exactly how long it will take you to find a Bitcoin block. And it's not exact, but it is exact on average. So it doesn't really matter. So the point is, it's a number. You can know exactly how often you'll find a block on average, and the price of a Bitcoin, and therefore you can determine without much variance, you can determine exactly how much money one chain is going to make you versus the other chain, because you know how much mining power you have, the current difficulty, so that means how often you'll find a block on average, and the price. So every time you find a block, you get that much money. So when you compare the two chains, you can tell which one's going to be more profitable for you to mine. The problem then is, whichever one happens to be more profitable at any given point in time, all the miners move onto that chain and away from the other chain, which means the blocks are found faster for a while until the difficulty adjusts. The blocks are found faster on the one chain and way slower on the other chain. So slow, in fact, that some chains have run into issues where they've been mined so slow that they're never going to get to the point where they can readjust their difficulty downward, because they adjust every X blocks. But if you're not mining blocks, you're never going to get to the point where you lower the difficulty and start mining at a normal pace again. And then once the mining power piles on to one chain, then eventually the difficulty does adjust way upward, because there's a ton of mining power. They have to make it more difficult. And then all of a sudden the balance shifts, and then they pile back onto the other chain, and the cycle continues back and forth. They pile onto one, difficulty goes up. They pile onto the other one, difficulty goes up. They pile back onto the first one, and on and on and on. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense. That happened with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Do you know, Tim, did that affect you at all? Do you happen to know? Were you trying to move Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash and not finding blocks?
No, I made a specific point of not messing with it then, because I'm not going to. I partly I just didn't understand exactly what was going on, and not enough that I felt like I just didn't need to buy anything either. I think I took like a couple months off from using Purse. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to kind of sit here and watch what happens, because I don't really care to be bought. Like the risk was enough that I was like, I'll just let this sit here.
Yeah, because what could happen is, like I said, if those blocks start going real slow for a while all the mining power is on the other chain, then you might put a transaction through, but it might never get accepted, because it's taking forever for blocks to get found on your chain. And once you do find a block, you can only fit so many transactions in it. But there's a ton of people trying to compete for this newly limited space, so that even once they do find a block, your transaction might not be in it. And I think that happened to me, not so much on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was big enough and legacy enough and trusted enough that there were some miners that would stay on Bitcoin even at the times where it happened to be less profitable. So Bitcoin was relatively fine during that period, but Bitcoin Cash definitely saw those waves of like really fast blocks and then really slow blocks and back and forth. And maybe I sort of maybe remember getting stuck in the slow blocks at some point, and you just had to wait a day or two or three or whatever and deal with it. And that was about it. So all of that to say that could totally happen again here. SV versus ABC. ABC seems to be the winner, and that's all fine and dandy. But if it really was the winner in terms of price, well then that could cause slow blocks or that could chase the miners away from Bitcoin Cash SV. Might then make it more profitable to mine SV if there's less miners, less competition. It just goes back and forth. That's the point. It could anyway. Or the other possibility is, like I said, the chain occasionally a fork or a cryptocurrency just will never really be mining blocks. It'll just be way too slow and nothing will ever happen. Transactions won't happen. There won't be miners. Possibly one of these forks could just be dead. That could just happen. Maybe SV, if it's way less valuable and if it happens to have less mining power, just maybe it'll just piddle out into nothing within a day or two or 10, whatever, or not. Who knows? Bitcoin Cash is still alive. I don't know how or why, but it is. So that's the possibility. There's also, though, like I said, there's two ways you could measure the winner. There's the price or there's the mining power, and they're kind of at odds a little bit. But there is cash.coin.dance. Now, it's a website, and it's been around since last year's fork. It was coin. The regular site is coin.dance, where you can measure the mining power and the number of blocks measured or mined on each chain and all of that. And this one is cash.coin.dance. I saw it. I don't have a ton to say about it because I don't really understand these charts, but I'm just letting you know it exists. Maybe my computer's not loading it right, or maybe it's having issues because it says pending a lot. So I don't need to get into details, but I was referenced a ton. It was a useful site in the past. So if it's fixed, just keep an eye on it, and it'll show you which blocks are mined when and where. They have all this info filled in for Bitcoin Unlimited and Bitcoin ABC, but then at least for me, it's showing blanks for Bitcoin SV, and there's a column for Bitcoin Unlimited status quo. I to be honest, I don't even really understand much of what the heck's going on here. So, I guess they do. Oh, I see what it is. They have blanks on top because the slower chain is way behind, so you have to scroll down to get to the equal block height. Got it. Forgive me. I was confused by that. So yeah, all right. So then I can explain what's going on here. ABC is way ahead. ABC is up to block height 556, 851. Whereas Bitcoin SV, I got to scroll past all these blank blocks. They're all the way down at 556, 817. So that's 817 at Bitcoin SV and 851 at Bitcoin ABC. ABC is ahead by, what is that, like 35 blocks or thereabouts right now?
Yeah.
There we go. I figured it out because I'm a freaking genius.
I was about to tell you because I'm an idiot and I can look on Twitter and somebody else said that. And I was about to be like, ooh, this guy explained it. But yeah, good for you, Dan.
So whoever designed freaking Coin Dance, I liked you before, but your current design is confusing. So just FYI. As a web developer myself, I'm not insulting you. I'm just letting you know that was kind of confusing. So
that's the worst. If you have somebody who does what you do, they come and you know what? Actually, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but this sucks.
I did not use the word sucks. Okay. They also have at the bottom actual percentages. So they're showing 67% of the hash rate on ABC and 33% on SV, which kind of matches the price. I don't know, percentage. The mining power, it's like ABC is twice as much mining power as SV, whereas price, ABC is like 3 times as much as SV. There are so many letters and numbers in these sentences that I'm trying to say. I still hope I'm making some kind of sense, but there you have it. Guys, I'm going to drop a reminder to jump in the chat if you're not already there. The place to be is you, me, and btc.com/live. Jump in the troll box. We pretty much read anything that goes through the troll box. So feel free to get over there and let us know what your thoughts are, which one you would choose, or, if you opt out entirely and just go for Bitcoin, that's definitely possible too. That's pretty much me. So let us know at you, Excuse me, I'm sorry. You, me, and btc.com/live. Okay, let me see. I'm going to pull up our poll here, see what, give it a refresh, and see how many people voted lol, because that's the best answer. So here's our results. Actually, pretty similar to the price. Our results are well, the number of people that voted for ABC is 3 times as much as the people that voted for SV, which exactly matches the price currently, or pretty darn close. Like I said, about that 3 times multiplier. So there's that. But that's just between those two. Overall, out of all 4 choices, 56% are currently voting for plain old BTC. And gosh darn it, 0% are voting for LOL. These people are idiots. So go vote for LOL, please. Pretty please.
Make Daniel happy.
Yeah, it really would though. So, all right, Tim. I don't know. What do you expect? How about this? Do you think they'll both survive? You know, the first example, going even farther back, way back in the day, is Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. And you know what? To this day, well, that had to be at least 2 years ago. I kind of remember where I was when this happened. I want to say about 2 years ago, but 2.5 years. Ethereum Classic is still here. It's crazy. I don't know how, but it's like even if, no matter which one you think is better, it's like, why do you need 2 of them? Like, what is the purpose of Ethereum Classic? Like, even if you really thought it was better, it's just like the same thing. Like, why would you continually work on and develop this coin that is clearly just like the same thing but not as popular? Like, I'm not trying to say it sucks. It's just, I'm not trying to say, obviously, I'm not trying to say you should always do what's popular. Like, I guess in some sense, like, fine, I would commend you. I would commend you for putting time and effort into something that doesn't seem to be making much progress. That's commendable in a way, for just being committed to something. But there's got to be a point where it's like, why am I working on this and not working on Ethereum? And so that's a real question. Like, what? How does a clearly secondary fork exist for so long? I don't know the answer to that. But then, still, before we go to that question, I just want to ask in general, Tim, do you think that this whichever fork turns out to be secondary, maybe SV, according to current prices, will it really stick around for 2.5 years and just still be chugging, just like Ethereum Classic has done, and just like Bitcoin Cash? I mean, that one's been over a year now, and it's forking again, but it's still there, whichever one you consider to be the original Bitcoin Cash.
Well, yeah, that even makes a point for it that it's going to be around, is that Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash is still around and still has enough force behind it to have people who want to fork it. We're just going to continue with using that word. I probably would have answered that no until you did bring up Ethereum Classic still being around. I think that is just kind of an example of what I was saying before, where somebody is very close to that project, whether they're right or wrong, really does think that it makes a difference and wants to keep on going. This is their thing where we always talk about, well, somebody will always run Bitcoin. There'll always be somebody that's what they're
true,
doing.
Yeah.
Now.
Even if it's 5 people, like, sure, go for it. You can do it.
So yeah, what?
Or, even like ignoring hard forks, we could also talk about code forks, which are just altcoins, like Litecoin. Like Litecoin has never ever had a purpose, even from the beginning. It's never had a purpose other than to be like Bitcoin but different. They literally, their goal was to be silver to Bitcoin's gold, which means I'm a metal, I'm just a different color. like And to this day, they don't claim to have any special purpose. Like, oh, yeah, like we use script instead of SHA-256. Yay. Like, yeah, they have a different mining algorithm. So what? It's not that different. There's still ASICs for Litecoin, and it still faces the same challenges as Bitcoin. And then they adopted SegWit before Bitcoin did. So they're like, oh, we're a test bed for Bitcoin stuff, features. And it's like, yeah, exactly. You're a test bed. Why? Like, you're not going anywhere. And that, again, I'm not trying to insult you. Like, I'm proud of you for sticking with it and making that possible. I'm proud of you for committing your hard work to something and giving me a way to test features in Bitcoin. Obviously, I don't mean me. I'm not a Bitcoin developer, but you get my point. Like, by all means, go for it. Be committed, make stuff happen, and serve me by giving me a place to test features. But so I'm not insulting you. I'm just like genuinely trying to understand what goes through these people's heads where they're like, yeah, we're never going to overtake Bitcoin. We've been around for 8 years. I don't know how long Litecoin's been around, but, or even worse, like freaking Feathercoin or whatever else was made back in the day. It's like, yeah, we're definitely never going to be Bitcoin. We're not even that different, and we could never surpass it yet. But we still have this forum that we run, and this chat room and this Twitter account that we're just going to keep cranking out tweets, and people still follow us for some reason. I don't know what's in their heads.
I do get what you mean though, where you're like, you're stupid, but thank you. Like,
yeah.
The pat, like, cause it isn't just that these people, like, it'd be different if, oh, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes a day updating this Twitter. We're going to run a few things. I'm going to do this. Like, even if they did the bare minimum of work, that'd be different from, cause the thing that's going to make you do this bare minimum of work is that you are so kind of into it. That's that, like, if you're a Feathercoin dev, if that's what you were, it's like you're kind of almost the title of being a Feathercoin dev is more important than anything else in that. Like, just the fact that you could see something was built. So I mean, yeah, it seems like a lot of things, especially on the internet, because of how weird it is, we get a lot of stuff that we're thankful for now from a lot of people. We're just like, why did you think that this was a good, like, we learned something from it, or we based something off of it, or it was like the early stepping stone. But just the amount of work that it seems, and not just the amount of work, but the amount of work without any kind of thanks at all. Like, there's nobody out there just like, oh, thank you. Like you'll get people like us on a podcast being like, yep, no, it was great, but there's no, like, the person that works on that doesn't go outside their house, and I can almost guarantee no one has ever recognized them outside of like a conference.
Yeah,
No one's walking down the street going, oh, you're that guy who da 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 da. So I don't know if it's like it's just people get so into a project and it almost borders on some kind of like a mental issue, or it's like I guess it'd be almost something like an artist where they just don't care. Like, they'll do as long as they're able to create something, they're happy. So you, like, it doesn't really make sense, but it is kind of, it's a required thing to have people like that, because whenever something's starting, there isn't always the infrastructure to base it off of, or if there is an infrastructure, it's mostly just like in crypto now, it's mostly just people trading. Like, the big money, I think, would be in trading or making a scam coin. Like, that's where, if you're getting into it to make money, you're going to do that. Not necessarily developing like a fair and useful thing that you don't pre-mine the shit out of and all that stuff. So you need people working against what to us looks like their best interest.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking honestly, like, we're never gonna be freaking CoinDesk, but our site is still out there. Like, our site is not that different from some random, like, or we're not even up there with like Bitcoinist or whatever else, like whatever other Bitcoin, like secondary Bitcoin news sites there are. Bitcoin Magazine's pretty high up there, but we're never going to be those people. But we still, every single week, we crank out this show, and we still have other shows that we just put out because why not? Like, it's just, there are so many people in the world, like, whatever, any project that's a good idea, like Bitcoin, it's just as crazy as it is, as dumb as it is, maybe for these other people to pour effort into this like 50th market cap cryptocurrency, or even worse, like 150th ranked cryptocurrency. It sounds absurd, but there's so many people in the world, and some of them are just like to do that. And that's why we have this you, me, and BTC. So that's us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't really even thinking about it too much, but I've thought about that in the past, where we are kind of just doing this because, I mean, whatever it has been over the years, it is kind of just goes back to, hey, we're going to talk anyway, so why not?
Might as well record it and chuck it out there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I was thinking also 2 or 3 minutes ago, man, can you imagine what if there is an actual Feathercoin forum still going? So I looked it up, and it's forum.feathercoin.com, and it gets about one post per month, or at least one every few weeks. And, Feathercoin client 17.0.1 released. And it's got 47 views on that post from 6 days ago. So guys, make sure you upgrade, please, from yeah, that's it. It is insanely inactive. It's release announcements every few weeks, and no replies to these posts. Like, hey, we released 17.0.1, and then nobody replies. So maybe it's just this one guy, like, somebody please install Feathercoin one more time. I got to get that last hit. I don't know, but it's worth 3 cents. So I'm sure it's traded on some exchanges still. So cool, I guess. Anyway, yeah, that's a thing. Secondary, tertiary, and 150th ranked stuff, that it exists, and people pour freaking effort into it, just like the freaking Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. Well, they're a little better lately, but all right, guys. And so all that, going back to the original question, is Bitcoin Cash and, are both of these forks going to survive? You know what? Probably. I don't know why anyone works on Ethereum Classic, but they do, and they use it and they trade it, whatever. And Bitcoin, I don't know why anyone uses Bitcoin Cash, let alone a hard fork of Bitcoin Cash, but they're going to. It's way better than Feathercoin, I'll give you that. So have fun. No, and again, I'm not insulting Feathercoin. Like, it was incredible because it's one of the oldest altcoins. It was a proof of concept. It said, hey, don't forget, anyone can use this code and do stuff with it. And it can be similar, it can be different, it can be traded on exchanges. Keep that in mind, because that affects Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can be replicated in these ways, then you need to know that, and you need to know how that affects the economics, and on and on and on. Thank you. Feathercoin, you did it. It was great. And yeah, and NY Cartoons is in the chat agreeing with Tim. A lot of people just like to create, and I'm not insulting that at all. If you still work on Feathercoin, if you're the guy that posted 6 days ago and said, please update to 17.0.1, I'm a developer too. I love building stuff, no matter whether people use it or not. I have, I don't even remember what, bitcoinratio.com. I don't think it gets any page views, but it's kind of cool, and I might work on it more someday. That's the story of every developer's life is, oh yeah, I kind of worked on this. It's there. So check it out if you're interested. And I might work on it more someday. We'll see when I get to it. That's how developers work. So I'm not insulting you at all for working on Feathercoin or Bitcoin Cash or a fork of Bitcoin Cash. I just thought it was an interesting discussion to say, yeah, why do people do this? Why Why do they work on such clearly things that are clearly never going to be the norm or win anything, never going to win any awards or adoption? And that's why. That's the answer, Tim, and why cartoons agreed. People just like to make stuff, tinker with stuff. They like to have stuff to call their own, and that's that. That's why we have this show. So thanks for being here, guys. You are the lucky few who get to chat with us and follow us and read my fancy show notes and whatever else we do. So thanks for being here. We're coming up towards the end here, and of course we have to do our why am I not coming up with a word? Like the usual, and that's
advice?
Obligatory. That's what I'm trying to say. The obligatory advice of the week, as we do every week. So I don't know, Tim, got any ideas? As always, as every week, it can be anything goes. It could be about stuff we talked about, like Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin AB or Bitcoin Cash ABC or Bitcoin Cash SV. Satoshi's vision. Is Craig right? Satoshi? The world may never know. Or I don't know. It could be about stuff that happened to you yesterday. Could be about the fact that I'm standing instead of sitting. I really don't care. I got any advice for us?
You didn't even bring that up yet. First off, make sure that
I said at the very beginning, I'm trying out a new setup. I'm slightly elevated because I'm a stand-up kind of guy.
Oh, well, maybe I blocked that out because I want to now. I mean, I guess my advice for all of this would be try to surround yourself with the people that want to sacrifice themselves, because then you can benefit. That will then also give you the chance to you can have other people sacrifice for you, then you can sacrifice the things you want, whether it's Daniel trying to design his new podcast feng shui, or me trying to live off of somebody else so I can just sit on my laptop and write 24 hours a day. Try to I'm kind of making a joke there, like try to leech off of people, but also if you can find people that will at least facilitate you using your time more how you like, then I'd say go for that.
Yeah, Tim's covered that. Like I said earlier, I seriously do love his podcast. As much as I hate Tim, I love his show. And it's obviously on the same website, same network as us. And it's called Tim's 2 Cents, if you haven't listened to it yet. He just talks about what happened to him this week, how, what people believe about good and, bad, or what's right, what's wrong. Literally anything, politics and current events. And just kind of goes off on stuff like he just said, like, oh, well, if you want friends to be helpful to you, do this and this and this, and these are healthy relationships. It's just anything like that. Like he'll just go off on it, and it's all interesting. And he'll tell you, over the past 5 years of his life, everything he's tried and failed at, and different directions he wanted to take his life, and why he chose to change things up and whatnot. So yeah, that's all great. But yes, Tim has mentioned similar things on his show where he's been like, yeah, keep people around you who are going to do stuff for you, who are going to help you. And it sounds bad, evil. It's like, why? That's not nice. Why you want me to just use people around me? And sure, it could be bad. I don't know, but it seems like it could also be good. It seems like that's what a healthy relationship is for. Like, yeah, you should be making each other better people. And so find people that serve you and make you better. I don't know. Like,
well, yeah, it's like most anything where if you get like super selfish with something, you kind of ruin it, because you do also then have to realize you have to treat people you have to provide at least some kind of value to most people, or else they're not going to want to hang around with you, especially if they're doing stuff for you. So if you need to be somewhat honest with it, but it's more like you are entirely in charge of who you're around. For most people our age have, even if you still live with your parents, you still have, like, your parents shouldn't be the issue. If you're still living with your parents, I would hope your parents are better off than you, or at least something of a good influence. But then people seem, not always, but I talk to like other people outside this podcast sometimes, not very often, and but they'll mention like, oh, I have to go hang out with whatever. I'm gonna say, well, why? And they're like, well, you know, they're my friends. I mean, I get that, but if that it also just depends on what you really care about. I mean, I've known Daniel for like, I don't know how many years now. Like, that's why we keep talking. I meet new people, and then I can kind of just stop. If it's a new I haven't had coworkers for a while, but if you do, like, I'll talk to people, and then I like, people get annoyed. They're like, why haven't you texted me? So I have nothing to say. I'm sorry, I'm not that interesting. But if you can plan your life more and find like people who compliment you, that's the word I've been trying to think of, like, compliment whatever it is you're doing, you're going to be better off, because you're not just going to have yourself working towards something, you're going to have other people, and then hopefully they, whether it's inspire or they just kind of encourage you along that way, and that's going to be good for you.
There you go. Straight from Tim's mouth. Abuse your friends. That's what I heard. So
exactly. Use them.
That's Tim's. Is that your advice, Tim? Is it my turn yet? I didn't know if that was official advice or if we just started ranting again.
No, I think that's mostly advice. It's with everything, try to benefit yourself, but you have to remember that you have to be smart about it, or else everyone's just going to look at you as what you are, and which is a leech. Most people take a little bit to realize that with me.
There you go. My advice, I'm going to just drop back to what we kind of closed with, which was the idea of being creative and doing hard work, even if you're not the best. I don't have much to say other than what we've already said. So that's going to be my advice, is just, yeah, sure, do hard work, make something, build something. Because I enjoy doing this show, even though I'm not, it's not flawless. It'll never be flawless. Neither will you. But sure, have fun, try to make something, build something, write something. Just because it's pleasant. There's not much way to dress it up. It's just, that's what we like to do. Not always. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're different. I don't know. But it seems like in general, it's pretty pleasant. It's fun.
It feels good because all we seem to do is kind of consume stuff. It's a break almost from consuming stuff.
Yeah, and it lets you kind of influence the world around you instead of other way around, where this video game influences me all day, every day. It's the other way around, where I can say, hey, this is what I want to talk about today, or on tonight's show, or this is what I want to write about on my website, or this is what I want to paint, friggin' right here. It's a way to influence the world instead of making the world influence you. There's my advice. Influence the world. All right. Do we have anything else? Should we call it a wrap here? Even if you're not CoinDesk, even if you're not frickin' Bitcoin, you're still influencing the world. Like, we get however many page views a day on our website, and that influences people. You don't have to be the best to be influential. That's probably why people do it, because it doesn't matter if they're top of the charts. 150th place it's still there. It still exists. People still use it, even if it's only 10 people. That's the influence that creator can get, and he craves that. And it's probably a good thing. It could be bad. If it's bad influence, it's bad influence, but it's often good. So, all right. Peace out, NY Cartoons. He says, later, Daniel. See you, Tim. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye. Same time, same place, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Unless if you live in Arizona, it's not the same time, or this week is not the same time as it was 2 weeks ago, because Arizona does not do daylight savings time. So it used to be 6 to 7 Arizona time. Now it's 7 to 8 Arizona time, which is great for me because it means I get more. Instead of starting at 6, I start at 7, which means I get more time to prepare after work. So great for me, great for you, makes me a better creator. That's why I got to redo my studio a bit because I'm a stand-up guy. But don't worry, because nothing changes for you unless you live in Arizona. Most of you, nothing changes. So come back here, same time, same place. I love you a ton. And keep on creating. And peace out. And anything else, Tim?
Go forth and be fruitful.
There you go. Hey, one last thing, of course, the place to be every week is you, me, and BTC.com. No matter what day of the week it is, whether it's Thursday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern or not, that's where all our shows go, all of our posts go. We have tools, calculators, commentary, whatever else you want there, charts even in the sidebar. Just go find it, relax, have fun. You, me, and BTC.com / not / anything. Peace out. Love you. Bye.
Bye.